Sarosh. Hey. Like your guys, your mics are on, so I can't hear you.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey. Oh, sorry, who's that?
Me, Sarosh.
Hey, Sarosh, what's up?
What's up? You tell me. How's it going?
Busy, very busy day, man. I just got off a call.
Your bosses are working, na? In Dubai.
Yeah, today is Dubai is working.
For them, so they'll be in a rush to sort of get onto your back right now. How's Zara?
Zara's good. She's
Give my regards.
Will do. We're not doing too well
now?
Sorry?
Mom is doing better?
Yeah, mom's doing much better, but we are not doing that well.
Why? What happened?
Delhi pollution. It's we've not adjusted to it too well, so it's beginning to like cause an issue.
Bloody hell! This corona was less that fucking pollution also sort of came in together with it.
Hi guys.
Hi, is Puneet here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi Sarosh.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, so far so good.
Sunday.
Didn't get my afternoon nap being a Sunday, but I'm okay with it. I'll sleep early.
Yeah, I was sleepy today. I had a very early morning actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've gone for my run.
I surprisingly woke up at 8 today.
Wow. We didn't see your post at 5 a.m. today.
Yeah.
Dennis, he has a thing of posting at 5 a.m. every day.
Oh, I know Sarosh very well. I've known him for, how long have we known each other, Sarosh?
15 years.
15 years. Dear God in heaven, that's a very long time. I sound like a very old person. Okay, before everybody else joins in, I'm going to take you through the presentation very quickly. Where the hell? Oh, okay. Can you see it?
We can see a lot of slides. Yeah, we can see the PPT. Yes.
Okay, so I'll quickly take you through. So essentially, it's history, families, and Portuguese of 2020. I'll leave it open to everybody how they want to actually go ahead with it. But the idea is a little bit of history, where we come from. Our two most important calibers, the F.A. Jones caliber and the Paul Weber caliber. The original manufacturer, the new manufacturer. I'm not going to talk on all these. I'm just basically, these are 2, 3, 4 second slides, just talking about, just taking them through. And then we can come back to it if somebody. Essentially, the 6 iconic watch families, starting with pilots. What pilot is? The idea is that we take them through the DNA of IWC and how the DNA of IWC actually came across and how it evolved over the years. Starting with the pilots because it was the first collection that we ever made. And if you see, that's our icon. Those are the iconic, sort of, not iconic. Those are essentially the details of the IWC big pilots.
Dennis, you might have to be a little louder.
Louder?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, that's good.
Portofino, just a little bit about Portofino and where we are today with Portofino. Padoshvita, Ingenieur, what Ingenieur is, where we are today with Ingenieur, Aquatimer, what is Aquatimer, where we are. I've put in the safe type system and the bronze in case anybody wants to ask, because I usually get asked these questions about the internally rotating bezel and the bronze. These are 2 standard questions I normally get. Da Vinci, classic complicated. I'm not going to talk much about Da Vinci. And then obviously come back to Portuguese as to what is Portuguese and why Portuguese, the icon, where we are today with Portuguese, and obviously the universal brand icon. Do you want me to talk about the perpetual calendar and Kurt Klaus in detail?
I think the Kurt Klaus angle is really nice.
It's, yeah, okay. Kurt Klaus is a little bit different, perpetual, yeah.
And then I've put in the first pilot, the first Berbakhtun, the first Mark 11, the first titanium watch, the first watch in the world, which is made of zirconium oxide, the first titanium aluminide watch, basically in material sciences and in authorology, and how we actually grew. So do you want me to start with this and then lead in the collection, or do you want me to end with this slide? I usually prefer to start with this.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is actually additional information if anybody actually wants. I'm not really going to go through it, but this is, say, for example, you want to have a look at this. So that's the original, that's the first Portuguese, by the way. That was made in 1939, and that's the new Portuguese. So if you can see the direct evolution of design, how we actually go from where we were to where we are today. Similarly, that's the first Portofino we ever made, and that's the evolution of the Portofino. So, you know, it's essentially the art design ethos remains the same.
So for a 1939 Portuguese to be in a 43 millimeter was quite unheard of in that time.
Anything above 36 was unheard of.
Yeah, and even this 1984 Portuguese, no, the Portofino, I think what, it's 47 millimeters?
45.
45. So imagine in 84 you have a 45 millimeter case, again unheard of.
And that's the infamous 666. Have you ever heard of the 666? So that's the first Engineer 666. That's model number 666, by the way. It's our most famous model in 1955.
Nice.
So yeah, this is additional information if anybody wants. I'll end off with a small note by Chris Granger. I'm not going to go through the new presentation because it's insane. But in case somebody has a question, we can always refute. I've kept it.
Spitfire has been the hot topic, right? So I think we can touch upon Spitfire a little bit somewhere.
You want to do a little bit more Spitfire?
Yeah, I think everyone and a couple of guys in the group, even Sarosh just bought one.
Okay, so this is a special surprise that that's for everybody. That's even you guys will get a surprise. Great. So these are the people who share IWC, and if anybody is interested, are sort of associations, you know.
That's okay. I don't think.
Yeah, it's just there in case somebody asks.
Sure. But I think Spitfire is a good topic, so we'll go a little deeper into that.
So I'll give a little bit more information on Spitfire.
Yeah. Okay. Firstly, also, Dennis, I need a quick introduction.
Jesus, I haven't done that. Sarosh, well, how do I introduce myself?
I need to introduce you. So Sarosh, tell me, what do I say?
So Dennis, what was the UK stint that you did, Dennis?
That was pure research. I was writing macroeconomic papers for Louis Vuitton, but I can't talk about it.
No, okay, you can't talk about it, but
I was doing research in macroeconomics in brand luxury.
Okay, so that's I think we start with that, and
yeah, but before that I was handling Cartier in India.
Okay, so
Dennis has been has been associated with the watch business in India for the past 15 years in various categories, from communications, consultancy,
marketing,
now brand. And he's been managing IWC's business in India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh for the past 5 years. And he considers himself, he's a self-confessed watch enthusiast. And he's just here to make you understand what IWC is. That's the quickest I can come up with.
Yeah, I think so. The easiest one, not going too much into the past, is that you're the area sales manager for IWC for which countries you said? Sorry, India.
Just say India, Sri Lanka.
Indian subcontinent.
Indian subcontinent.
Cool. And a watch enthusiast. So I think these are 2 points which I'm going to say. So anything.
Cool.
Don't forget Denish's shoe collection.
Oi, stop! Don't embarrass me, sir. No, I've stopped collecting shoes. Yeah.
No way. Why?
No time.
Okay, I'll keep sending you links.
So Sarosh and me have very similar sort of tastes, and we've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time together in multiple opportunities, actually. Sorry, I'm just going to add a little bit more about Spitfire. How many people are we expecting today?
Not too many, actually. A lot of people
That's fine.
But I don't know. Let's see.
It usually goes to up till 30 to 40 people at an average.
People, yeah. 30 odd people is where 30, 40 people. Sometimes have been a little more, but then the count usually remains around that for the entire duration.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to share screen.
Puneet, sorry,
Yes.
I have to inform you. So Sarah is joining the call today. She's my head of marketing.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the in-house versus external HQ has said don't comment on it. I will give an answer to it, but I can't comment officially on it because we have an observer.
Cool. No worries. No worries.
On what?
The in-house versus
Versus
external discussion.
The movements you mean?
Yeah.
That's touchy. That Dennis is not, I don't think he will get into that controversial subject.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like between 4 or 5 people sitting in a group, I can chat about it. But now Sarah's on the call, maybe, by the way.
Has she joined?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Maybe we should do a dinner discussion on this in-house versus external.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to do
I got a
that.
group member to ask me already today morning. He's like, but when they say in-house movements, does it mean the group is part of the house, and that's when they say in-house, or is it IWC in-house? So that is a little bit of a
IWC in-house, by the way. So IWC manufactures the base movement for the entire Ishmael group. It's called the rock movement and the score movement following up.
okay. So then
Hi, Arpit.
Hey Sarosh, how are you doing?
All well. Why are you hiding?
Oh, I just got back home actually.
Oh,
Just give me 5-10 minutes.
yeah, take your time. Arpit is a fellow IWC owner.
I think Arpit knows me.
Yes, I think we've been following each other on Instagram.
Yeah,
Recently.
sorry, I'm not very.
Ahan is joined in. Hi, Ahan.
Hey Sarosh, how are you?
All well. How are you doing?
Good.
Hi, Vikram.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well.
he's a brand new Spitfire owner, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
I think he just bought it
Thank
today.
you. Yeah, I picked it up yesterday. Yeah.
So Dennis, maybe you just want to keep one of those sliders on share screen. Just for
Yeah. Just give me a second. I'll do that.
No.
Hey Sarosh, Patabi here. Hello.
Hi.
Hey
How are you?
everyone!
How are you doing?
I'm good, Sarosh. We met very recently.
Yes. I think yesterday. You came to the workshop yesterday.
That's right. Yeah.
Rosh, whenever my group member visits you, I get to know without anyone telling me also. The same. I have a track on all their movements.
Actually, you're hazardous then. You're tracking everyone. Sagar, hi.
Hi Sarosh, how are you?
Very well. What's up?
All good at my end. How about you?
Excellent. Yeah.
It's
Pretty relaxed Sunday today.
okay. I was looking forward to meeting you all today.
Excellent. I'm glad I'm glad you could find some time this evening to join.
Oh yes, absolutely. Hi Vikram, how are you?
Hi, Sagar. How are you? Good. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Everything is fine. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I think guys over here mustn't have congratulated each other on their first newborns rather than how much we congratulate each other when we get watches.
Sure.
Shouldn't all of them?
Okay, fine. Yes.
Shouldn't all of them also congratulate you, Sarosh, because you also acquired the IWC bronze recently. That's what you told me.
It's been in a waiting since 1 year.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's my fault. Bronze has been a much bigger success than we anticipated at all. Because the bronze that we do Actually, bronze is not something that we are new to. We've actually used bronze much before. Sarosh would know, and the 379503 Aquatimer diver.
Yeah.
So we've had experience with bronze, and
it was the Darwin edition, right?
yes, the Charles Darwin edition.
Yeah.
But what has happened is that was introduced, I think, 3 or 4 years ago before this current bronze. And the bronze that we used in the Aquatimer was very different. That was a shiny bronze. So what people didn't understand that bronze patinas over time and it loses its sheen. But when they saw it for the first time, their immediate reaction was, "Oh, it looks like fake gold," because it was the first time someone had ever seen polished bronze. So we've had an experience with bronze over the years, and it's just that the combination of the Spitfire, it just took off extremely well. I think I'm going to use headphones because there might be an issue with sound. Suresh, if you could let me know if that sounds better.
Yeah, much better. This is much better.
Sorry, technology. So you guys let me know whenever it is that you want me to start.
I haven't met Adeep before. Hi Adeep, I'm Sarosh.
No, we've met before. I'm pretty sure we've definitely.
Okay.
So Adeep is also part of the group. So we did the meetings, 2 meetings with Sarosh here. So Adeep, I think you were part of those.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Someone's mic is echoing.
Let's just wait for like 3 to 4 minutes, if that's okay, and then we can start.
Sure, no problem.
Where's Kari? Kari is joined?
Sorry, I'm here, but I'm kind of unwell, so I don't think I'm.
Oh, hi, Kari. How are you?
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good. Still, I'm also a bit under the weather. I'm unable to breathe because of the pollution here.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot worse than you think it is, believe me.
I look like I'm under the weather, so I'd rather not come on camera.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I look all right, but yeah.
Hi, Puneet.
Hi, how are you? How are you
Surviving.
feeling?
Is Sarah here already?
No, not yet.
Just message.
Hello, Vikram.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thanks, Puneet, for holding this.
Good evening. Welcome, Mr. Vikram.
In fact, I have been following IWC regarding that bronze case for quite some time.
See, that Dennis, I said.
I'm going to hide under the table, very shortly. One of the drawbacks of being the face of IWC in India is the fact is that, the first thing people ask is, yeah, you know what, I've been looking for your IWC watch for 3 months. When do I get it? So I have to hide, unfortunately.
Is this the color of the case, the Charles Darwin case?
I beg your pardon?
Is the bronze similar to this?
I'll have to pull you up. Give me a second. I cannot see. How do I make this bigger? Unfortunately, my share screen is on, sir, so I won't be able to. I'll show you a picture. I can't see because I'm sharing my screen. Your screen to me is like this small, so I can't make out something that small. I'll come back to you in a bit.
Sure.
We'll get back to it. Kisara might join in a little later. She's still in a call today. I mean, she's still in a meeting. She hasn't been able to leave, but yeah, she'll join in later.
The bronze does not come with the textile strap, right?
No.
Okay.
Should we go? Spirit,
I think we can start now. I mean, it's already 6:37, so
Sure.
time. So cool. Just a second. Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of Risk Talks with BWE. This time, of course, with the amazing brand IWC. We have Mr. Dennis Raul, who is the area sales manager for India and Sri Lanka, and he's going to take us through a lot of details and trivia about IWC which we didn't know. And of course, he will be happy to answer questions which we have regarding IWC, but I think we should just keep it to the product and not any numbers. So let's just keep it to the product of our questions. And in case of questions, you can either put it up on the group chat or, just come in when he gives us a break, gives us some space for a question. And I think everyone here knows about IWC, so I cannot give you any introduction for that. I think Dennis will do a good job with that. And we have more people. So Dennis, the format is that we'll have more people joining in, but that's okay. The flow remains. Mm-hmm. And we'll shoot some questions wherever we have any, and that's about it.
Problem. Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to switch my video off because you can focus on the presentation. Sure. So the idea today is that this is the first time I'm meeting a few of you guys. I've met a few of you before. The idea is that I would like to showcase what IWC is and essentially share with you who we are, where we come from, and how we were formed, and why do we do what we do. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of history, that's Mr. Florentino Ariosto-Jones. He's actually an American who came to Switzerland in 1868 to actually look for something which is very unique. If I was...
sorry, Dennis, you'll have to again share your screen.
Oh, is it gone?
Yep, it's gone. Sorry. So just a quick one, Dennis. A lot of people here own IWCs and especially the Spitfire. So just a quick check on that. I think just in the last week, I know at least 3 people from this audience right now who are owning and just bought the Spitfire in the last week. Okay. And yep. So yeah, sorry, it's on. You can go on.
No problem. That's Mr. Florentino Ariosto-Jones. He's actually American. He came to Schaffhausen in 1868. If I were to tell you that in the late 1800s, if Americans were known for one thing and Swiss were known for the other thing. So Americans were known for line production and the Swiss were known for watchmaking. It was actually more expensive to manufacture, design, and produce a watch in America than it was in Switzerland. So he came to Switzerland looking for a base. He's looking for somewhere where he can actually take his American style of entrepreneurship, of line manufacture, of efficiency, industrialization. And he was looking for a base. He landed at Schaffhausen for a very, very, very good reason. That Schaffhausen, as you can see, it's way up in the north. It is actually the northernmost canton, northernmost city of the watch business in Switzerland. And that actually plays off in our DNA and also in what we do very, very strongly. So we are Swiss Germanic. We are a small town surrounded on 3 sides by Germany, wherein the entire town is full of actually engineers. So our DNA is Swiss Germanic engineers. So Schaffhausen was based, it was run by, was actually, the manufacturer was full of engineers. And that is one of the biggest reasons, one of the main reasons why F.A. Jones actually came to Schaffhausen, because he came to Schaffhausen, he saw that there were 2 very important things. 1, very, very high skilled labor. And 2, something that was unique in 1868 was a hydroelectric water plant, which supplied electricity directly to the manufacturer, without which it was impossible to actually have an industrial manufacture of watches or of any kind in the world. That is the original manufacture, as you can see, and you can see that we used to have what probably you see today in terms of watch tables, line by line by line. That's how it was manufactured back in 1868. The manufacturer that you see in the bottom right-hand side picture, which says IWC, that still exists. That's the original IWC building, and that still exists, and we still use it as our headquarters. It is now flanked on 2 sides by 2 new buildings. And What you see in front of you are IWC's two most important calibers. On your left-hand side, you see the F.A. Jones caliber, and on the right-hand side, something a little bit more familiar to you, which is the Paul Weber caliber, which you might have seen during the Jubilee years, and a few watches of them came to India as well. So F.A. Jones caliber that you see on your left is still used at IWC. It is actually used in the IWC Portuguese Automatic Anniversary Edition. So we do not use it for a lot of watches, but every time we use a Portuguese Automatic Anniversary Edition, we do try and use the F.A. Jones movement. As you can see, the original manufacture was actually built in 1875. We kept increasing it, and now it also has two manufacturers on the side, but it also houses this museum and the IWC boutique. What I'd like to present to you and invite all of you to is a new manufacturer. It is a place called Schaffhausen. When IWC was formed in 1868, the initial factory was the two buildings. Then we added two more buildings, and then we added a few more buildings, and then we took up more land, and then we took up more land. Schaffhausen is a small town with a population of not more than 10,000 in the early 1900s. So we took up small and small and small more. While we expanded, it was not in the same place. So it was decided more than 10 years ago that IWC will come up with a new manufacturer, which will have two aspects. One, all the manufacturing processes will be at one location. And two, it will be something what we call consumer friendly, which is essentially client friendly, which means you can walk into the manufacturer and there is actually, if you see on the right-hand side next to the man, there is a lane through the manufacturer where you can observe every single step of your watch's manufacture live. And the factory was actually made and designed in such a way that if a consumer wishes to come and he wants to see, okay, I would like to see the Portuguese where Portuguese watches are made, you can come and you can observe without disturbing the watchmaker. What used to happen is if, say, for example, a client or somebody would like to come and see or come and visit, it usually used to disturb the watchmakers. We have to open up the place. It's a static-free environment. So this allows you to actually visit it. Anybody. It's not restricted to invites only. Anybody can go to the manufacturer and have a visit. What a lot of people do not know about IWC is a lot of people associate, like you said, IWC with pilots or maybe with Portuguese or specifically to the big pilot or the Spitfire, whichever is the more unique or whichever is currently in the top of mind of consumers. What a lot of people don't understand or don't know or never had an opportunity to learn is that IWC actually has 6 very distinct families, which are split very categorically into Sportif, which is the Pilot's Collection, the Aquatimer Collection, and the Engineer Collection, and the Classic Collection, which is the Portuguese, Portofino, and Da Vinci. What you're seeing in front of you is actually how we have actually grown our families ever since 1936. So 1936 was the very first pilot's watch. It's called the Special Pilot's Watch. 1939 was the very first Portuguese watch. 1955 was the very first Engineer watch. 1967 was Aquatimer, and 1969 was Da Vinci, and 1984 was Portofino. How IWC actually grew was in 1936, there was Mr. Homburger who was running IWC manufacturer. His sons were pilots, were gentlemen aviators, they were gentlemen pilots, and they came to their father and said, we're aviators and we do not have any way except a clock on the dial, which is not very accurate, to able to time our watch, to be able to time our flight. We would need we would need something. Can you design a watch for us that we can actually use for flying while we're aviating? And hence in 1936, the first pilot's aviator watch was designed. And that bolstered in the whole early age of aviation. We supported the entire aviation era. In 1955, this was post-World War II, which essentially meant the whole of Europe was reconstructing. There was a lot of industrial activity in Europe. There was a lot of heavy engineering in Europe. So we had a lot of engineers who used to come to us, specifically even us, that, we work in large power plants, we work in large industrial plants where the magnetic levels and the power levels actually they make our watches dangerous because they explode. Watches used to explode. They used to literally explode because the pressure inside could not be contained. The gauss used to break, shatter the glass. Hence, we came up with the Engineer Collection. We designed the Engineer Collection for engineers, where it came with the soft inner iron case. And essentially it helped engineers to be able to have a great timepiece on their hand, which is accurate while working under these circumstances. 1967 was the early age of diving. Before that, diving was relegated to, I'm sure there are a few Panorama fans over here who would be able to help add to this as well. Before that, it was primarily focused only with the military. Only the military used to dive. Why? Because it was expensive, it was dangerous, and it wasn't very easy to do that. I mean, it wasn't very, you don't have instructors, you don't have the gear, you don't have the influence, and you don't have the information. But what's happened is, by about 1965, 1966, about 10 years after, 15 years after the war, it started becoming a hobby. People started diving for not just professionally. I mean, this is post-comics. People wanted to dive because they were interested in it. And hence, we came up with the Aquatimer collection. That is a new Aquatimer collection, but I'll showcase the original Aquatimers as well. So every single collection of ours, every single family of ours, we don't actually like call it collections, every single family of ours has actually evolved out of a desire of what's happening around in the world. So there are some, so we've never actually come up with the collection just because we wanted to come up with it. It was always around the era, always around what was happening around in the world, and it was a response to that. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard of the transition of the industry in the early 1960s to the late 1960s, the Swiss watch, the quartz revolution. But there is something unique that we did. In 1969, Mr. Kurt Klaus actually started work on our first perpetual calendar, which you can see on the right-hand side, instead of going down the digital way. What we decided to do as a brand, as IWC in 1970, when everybody else was coming up with quartz watches, everybody else was thinking that mechanical watches are going to die. The future is digital, and you had the Beta 21 movement, which everybody used, including us. Our first Da Vinci watch was a Beta 21 quartz watch. But what we also decided to do was to launch Portofino. Portofino was an answer of a pure, classic, sophisticated, mechanical, hand-wound watch, which was presented to the world in 1970s, which gave a way out for somebody to, the whole world was going digital. And even a lot of old, well-known brands who would never probably look at that perspective of design were moving away to that perspective. But what we wanted to do was essentially present the whole charm, the charm and mechanics of a mechanical watch, and obviously follow with Portuguese. So this is the Pilots universe. The Pilots universe actually encompasses three very important families. There's a classic big pilot, there's a Top Gun series, a Saint-Exupéry, and there's a Le Petit Prince. These are the four. The movement is, all Pilots movements are usually always anti-magnetic, protect against drop in pressure, and the design follow the cockpit style, functional and classic sporty. I'm not going to take you that. What you're looking at is essentially the design code of IWC Pilots, which would mean the big crown, the luminol, the big dial, the big numerals, the characteristic arrowhead at 12 o'clock, the elegant lugs and the rivets, which it has followed us through these. So the first watch you see is the 1936 Pilot Special watch. The second watch you see is something called the Bear Baktun. Don't try to remember it, it's fine. And the third is the first Mark 11's watch. I'm going to give you a little bit of history between the three. I've already told you about the 1936, the special watch, which was for Mr. Homburger's sons. The Bear Baktun watch in 1940, it's actually 55 millimeters across, and it was not worn on the wrist, it was worn on the thigh. The Bear Baktun literally translated means observatory watch, which means that before we had GPS, before we had, we had essentially any way to map or track ground locations, pilots used to use the Bear Baktun strapped to their thigh to do timing runs to make sure to essentially get distance runs and to get return distance runs and fuel on actual flights. This was used by the Luftwaffe, and it was used by 3-4 militaries in the world, including the Luftwaffe. And obviously the Mark 11 is one of the most famous of the Dirty Dozen. It's got the 89 in caliber, and as you know, we have continued the Mark series and we are at Mark 18 as of today. Like I said, these are the 4 classic lines of the pilot's subfamilies. There's Toxiperi, there's Classic, there's Spitfire, and there's Top Gun. What you're seeing in the center is the first Portofino that was ever designed, and it was ever launched. Portofino was a response to a world going digital. It was a throwback to saying we are who we are. It's a concept of Dolce Vita, which means that it's the good life. It's not the expensive life, it's the good life. There was a lot of association with with Portofino and the movie business, because Portofino, when it was launched, was based off a fishing town in Italy called Portofino, which was a favorite haunt of the movie stars, especially Italian movie stars in the 1980s. And it grew to signify that elegance, that sophistication. And to basically supplement this application, we actually work with Santoni. I'm not sure how many people know Santoni. It's not very popular in India, but they've actually started retailing in India as well. And all our 45 mm and classic watches are actually have straps which are exclusively designed by Santoni for us. That's the Portofino design language, which means that, it'll have the round pocket shop case, it'll have the minimalistic attached lungs, which means it'll have the stick lungs, and it'll always have the fuel hands. And there is one aspect of Portofino design concept, which a lot of people miss and which is very unique to us. I'll come back to, in fact, I'll ask everybody if they can notice it later. What you're seeing is the current iterations of the Portofino collections with the 45 mm moon phase on the right, the chronograph, and the Portofino mid-size at the bottom in 36 and 37. Ingenue. The design that you're seeing under the word history is our most iconic Ingenue watch. It's called the 666. It's the reference 666. This was our first Ingenue watch with a soft inner iron case. And obviously in the 80s, everyone is very, very familiar with the trilogy of the Girard-Genta trilogy. And obviously the original Ingenue was designed by Girard. There are actually 4 watches. There is a Vacheron Constantin 222, which is called the Overseas now. That was also part of this sort, but that came in later, so people don't always put it in the same sort. But yeah, Ingenue was part of the original trilogy of the Royal Oak Nautilus, and it was part of Girard-Genta's most famous designs. Ingenues were designed to be anti-shock, anti-magnetic, water resistance, and it had the peloton winding system. The peloton winding system was introduced in the Ingenue system or Ingenue family. The peloton winding system is bidirectional winding. A lot of watches only have a unidirectional winding. For example, when a rotor moves clockwise, it might charge a watch, but if it's moving anti-clockwise, it might not charge a watch. Not every single brand in the world, every single movement in the world actually has that ability. There are multiple ways of doing a bidirectional winding. IWC the peloton winding system is patent to IWC, and it is the simplest way to do it till today. What you're seeing in front of you is the newest iteration of the IWC collection. And you all probably also know that we do sponsor the F1 team for Lewis Hamilton, and he's won the 7th, he's won it for the 7th time as well. Icotimer was started, like I said, when consumers actually started diving on their own. We have 2 patented functions in the Icotimer function, which is the rotating bezel and the safe dive, the bracer quick chain system and the safe dive system. You might not know that IWC was the first mechanical watch in the world to have the first mechanical depth gauge for 50 meters. And that is the IWC collection today. The safe dive system is essentially it's a unidirectional bezel which rotates internally. It's not external. It doesn't rotate externally, so that if in case when you're diving and you bang and your bezel hits say a ship's edge or your tank, it will not move because it's internal. That, in case if you wanted to know, was what the patina is on the original 379503 bronze. So at the case back, the patina has not been removed, but the side has been polished after it's actually got a patina. Da Vinci is our classic collection. We usually launch our most complicated watches in Da Vinci. Our first perpetual calendar designed by Kurt Raul was actually launched in a Da Vinci case. And last and not least, Portuguesa. Portuguesa is our most important. It is our most iconic. It represents IWC in its best form. It's more than 75 years old. Portuguesa was designed because two Portuguese seamen came to IWC and said, we need a watch that we can actually, which is chronometric. We can wear it on our wrist, and it is robust. So we took our F.A. Jones pocket watch movement and we adapted it into a wristwatch. And it was one of its first chronometer wristwatches to be available at that point in time. And that is the classic design language of IWC. All Portuguese IWCs will have a minute track. They will always have a round case with elegant locks. They will always have the fuel hands and the Arabic numbers, whereas Portofino will have the Roman numbers. It's become into a universal brand icon, and the four watches you see in front of you are the newest representation of IWC. That is a brand new moon and tide. It's a brand new complication that's never been done before, and even I'm still trying to understand it for a little bit. That's the 3 that's the original Portuguese chronograph, a most popular one now with an exhibition case back, and that's the new perpetual calendar 42.5 mm, which was launched this year, the automatic. And of course, our perpetual calendar. The only perpetual calendar in the world since 1985 that can be adjusted via a single crown. And the only perpetual calendar in the world which has a double moon indication, which is also patented to us. So irrespective of brand, age, complication, there isn't a single perpetual calendar in the world which can do what we do, which is essentially adjust all the functions of the date through just the crown, which also includes the year, which surprisingly very, very, very few perpetual calendars have. I would encourage you to go think about it and pick up your most popular perpetual calendars or your favorite perpetual calendar. Look at the dial and see the representation of the information that is there, and look for the year. These are just some of our innovations that we've done. What you're seeing is that we've also designed the first watch in titanium. We also worked with the first, we were the first in the world to actually make a watch out of zirconium oxide, titanium aluminide, and the first brown watch in the world in ceramic, boron carbide, which is till today, I think is the strongest, it is the strongest ceramic that we've ever designed for a watch. And of course, now we have ceratanium, which is ceramic and titanium fused together. In autorology, the Struya Schaffhausen, IWC's most complicated watches. And of course, now we have the Sideral Schaffhausen, which is what we make today as the most complicated watch. Sorry, I'm just gonna get this back. Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave you here with a small introduction by our CEO.
We're not getting the audio.
Sorry, can you hear it?
No, we're not getting the audio.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's unfortunate. Can you hear it now? Can you hear it now? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and fix it. How about now? Can you hear it now?
No.
No?
No. Okay, so when you screen share, you will have to select the option for sharing the computer audio video. So maybe you want to remove the screen share and then try it again.
Should I try now?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I'll share a link to the I'll share a link to the video so everybody else can.
Yeah, no worries. You can just put it on the chat, or you can share it with me. I can share it with everyone.
Yeah, not a problem. So essentially, this was this year's what we call as such as Watches and was our CEO. I don't really want to take you through like a presentation which is essentially very product specific. So yeah, I would leave it open to everybody for whatever question and answers you have based on what we actually did right, or we have talked right now. So we can actually take it, it's flexible beyond that. So I'll leave it to Puneet.
All right. Thank you, Dan, for this brief presentation. It was interesting to know a lot of small and interesting trivia about IWC, the brand, and all the collections. We are obviously open for questions, and I'll go first because okay, so a quick wrist check. I'm wearing the Portofino Jubilee 150 years.
Oh, you have the lacquer dial. You know that dial is very unique because it has 12 layers of lacquer, and our manufacturer was so pissed off because it's like, even if a small microscopic of dust lands on any one of the layers, because the lacquer goes on layer by layer. You put on a layer and you wait for it to dry. You put on, and it's 12 layers. So it's 10 layers of white lacquer and two layers of clear lacquer. So after the 10th layer, there was microscopic dust which had dropped on a batch of these dials. They had to throw the entire batch out because it was so hard. It was like a rock. So the dial had like a bump in it, and which was, you could not even remove. So you can't chip off a layer of lacquer. So that's why a manufacturer said, we will do a capsule collection, 1 year only. Don't ask us to make this again, ever again. And that's how we actually landed up with the lacquer dial on your particular watch. But it is very unique. It is the depth that you get from lacquer, you cannot get from another dial.
I agree. The depth is amazing, and especially near the date windows is where you can actually see the depth. And I like the day-date combination, which is with the chronograph. So the complication is pretty interesting. So just to understand the design elements, so Portofino, Portuguesa. I mean, talking about these two collections, obviously iconic. Portofino is fairly new compared to the Portuguesa in terms of the launches. That's what you explained. I think 1984 or something was the Portofino.
Correct.
Right. So in terms of design and in terms of technical specs, how do you differentiate between the two? I mean, not in terms of just looking at it. Yeah, of course you can say that it's a Portofino or a Portuguese, but what is the actual differentiating factor per se?
Sure. So Portuguese, the Portuguesa is IWC's most important collection. It represents between 40 to 50% in terms of value to IWC as well. Portuguesa has always been the collection where we have launched new complications, which means Portuguesa has always been sophisticated, modern, but yet technical. Portofino has always been about lifestyle. It's always about that sophisticated elegance. So from a design perspective, Portofino has always been about la dolce vita, which means the good life. It's about enjoying life. It's about enjoying the finer things in life. A lot of people tend to take la dolce vita in like enjoying like an expensive life. It's not an expensive life. It's enjoying a good life. It's enjoying the life that you have. It's enjoying it's enjoying what's on your wrist. Portuguesa has always been the technical stuff, and it's always been our technical, our perpetual calendars are on it, our annual calendars are on it. It's always been a showcase of what IWC is as a Swiss Germanic engineering brand. That's where the differentiation comes between these two particular. Yeah, but never. I mean, Portofino also has some very, very unique watches. Like for example,
Okay, I can't see him.
The 8-day power reserve watch. And when it's 45, the hands take the longest time to set on the watch because the torque that is generated to swing a hand that much, that long and that heavy, usually made out of gold, running out of an 8-day power reserve is immense. It's like a Ferrari engine you're just willing to burst. It's actually very, very tightly wound. And to make sure that does not happen, IWC engineers your IWC 45mm will actually wind to 9 days. And it has a power reserve of 9 days. But we are confident that we can certify that it will go up to 8 days. So on the dial, it says 8 days, but it will actually run to 9 days. We give that 1 day of 24 hours of essentially safety so clients don't overwind their watch. Please try and understand an 8-day power reserve in a mainspring barrel that small. The amount of force exerted, not only just on the mainspring barrel case, but on the wheels, on the gears, on the escapement of the escapement power going and coming back to the center wheel is immense. It's immense and it's a lot, you know. So it is a technique. If you think that it's not very technical, but actually it is a very, very technical watch. It's just that it's not positioned as a technical watch. It's positioned more of a, if you see the original Portofino, it's a moon face. The moon face has always been poetic yet technical. So it has the functionality of the technical aspect of it, but it's always alluded towards a more sophisticated, elegant lifestyle. And yeah, that would be the difference between Portuguese and Portofino, I would say.
Thanks. I think Sagar wants to go next.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, Dennis.
Oh,
hi. Thank you so much for coming today. It was lovely to hear you. And see, Punit has asked us not to ask for discounts. So yeah, I'm not asking for the discount. I'm not asking for the coupon. No. Right. So that was on the lighter note, but just a very quick question. Like we often see that the Swiss watches offer a lot of customization for the customers in the United States and some parts of Europe. So why not India? Like I do not see any manufacturer who is wanting to offer customized watches in India. So that was. I
do.
Oh, I mean, I don't think we can ever get a customized watch in India if we place an order online. Can we do that for the IWC?
So there are two ways of looking at answering that question. In terms of customization, what you mean by customization is, I believe, 3 aspects. One is dial customization, which is exceedingly rare, strap customization, and case back engraving. Is there any other sort of customization that you're?
No, I think I saw that anyone could, I think you took it off, but there was a time somewhere last year where.
The engineer that you could make your own watch. So
right.
That's not a customization, that's essentially build your own watch. So it's
build your own watch, that's right.
It's a selection of, so a lot of customers walk in and into a retail store. If it's not a boutique, say, for example, if it's just a retail store and they walk in and say, okay, fine, you know, I like the Portofino chronograph, but I want it on a brown strap. You know, the retailer might not have a brown strap. Or he might not have that particular reference in a brown strap. He might have in a gray strap or a black strap. So what the online selector allowed you to do is that, okay, fine, there might be a combination that exists in your mind, a combination of strap and dial and case, which you want. But it is not reflected in our collection because, you know, every time we add, we know a lot of people ask me, why don't you just add another dial? To give you a small indicator, the dial is the part of the watch that takes the longest time. Because please understand, a movement can be repaired, can be serviced, can be taken care of. A dial has to survive a minimum of 7 to 10 years of direct sunlight. That a lot of people do not get that. You know, a dial has to is exposed to UV radiation for most of the day, and that's the one thing that will fade the first. So when you make a new dial, our tests have to cost 7 minimum years, minimum. So dial customization becomes very difficult. That's why people come and say, why don't we just make a new dial? It's not as easy as you think it is. And dials is such a specialized function that LVMH actually bought a dial factory called Karthans near Neuchâtel, which only makes dials for them. So dial customization is very, very tough.
Very tough, okay.
Is that if you've seen 1950s, 1960s, a lot of dials actually came with prints on them, which were usually screen prints, which were usually the rubber prints. If you look at them 30, 40, 50 years, they've developed a patina. They've grayed, they've browned, they've crackled. That is what people want. Some people actually want that patina. They want that crackleization, that adds to the beauty of the watch. But if you're a new watch, you have to survive 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or 25 years without your dial being spoiled, because that is a promise you made to the brand, made to a customer. Imagine if your watch started changing colors in 10 years. You know, your dial started fading in 10 years. So customization, one is a bit difficult. A lot of brands actually offer customization. What is available for customization is engraving on the case back, initializing on the strap, which is very soon coming to India. The reason it's not done in India yet is unfortunately because the expertise wasn't here. And the machine for the tapping of the initials on the strap, that should come. But the engraving technology that exists in India is very focused towards jewelry. So it's not focused towards watches. So they have a tendency to damage the watch. So that's why we do not recommend. I mean, Sarosh would know. I mean, he's got, you've got a JLC duo time, right? If I remember correctly. So a lot of JLC customers wanted to engrave their back, and they should just take it to a jeweler and get it laser engraved. That's unsafe.
That laser engraving will never give you that justice that you.
It'll never. First of all, it'll look bad because you'll never get the micron depth that you require for an engraving. And secondly, I mean, if someone goes and engraves by hand, if they don't know what they're doing, you can destroy your watch. So unless and until we're 100% confident that we can offer something to a customer that is to our clients, which represents. So our motto is Propus Kafusia, which means good watchmaking from Schaffhausen. So irrespective of whatever watch, our most entry level watch is the 40 mm Portofino watch, which costs around 400,000 INR, all the way up to, in commercial terms, our most expensive commercial watch, which is 40 to 50 lakh rupee tourbillon. They both carry a 8-year warranty from IWC. That is our promise. So irrespective of the price of the watch, IWC still promises you 8 years. So we need to make sure that the quality that we deliver to you is respectful and it follows IWC quality, irrespective. Automatic, tourbillon, perpetual calendar, and does not matter. 8 years because it has the IWC logo on it, which means we promise that for 8 years it should work properly without any problem.
Right. And
for a long, complicated answer, but the thing is,
no. I wish
it come next year. But there's a very good reason why brands do not offer customization and why customization takes time to come.
Right, and that I truly appreciate. And the last one was, you mentioned the 8 days power reserve, but I think you mistook it for the 7 days power reserve. So you mean 8 days because the watch shows 7. So you mean to say the watch actually has a 9-day power reserve and the indicator just shows 7?
Let me show it. Give me a second. Where did it go? So there are, when you say the 7-day power reserve, that's the Portuguese. That's my watch. That's this one.
Okay.
So this has a 7-day power reserve. The Portofino has an 8-day power reserve. They're two different watches.
Right.
So this actually works differently because this is a double barrel. This would, when you start charging the watch, once you reach 7 days, the movement actually pushes back. It doesn't allow you to charge more than, this actually discourages you from charging 7 days. That's why it's in red, which it's not in red actually, it's the other way around. But essentially our engineers have told us that you should never wind any watch up to its maximum capacity, ever, especially a high reserve watch, because what that happens is it causes a lot of stress internally. And if it's an automatic, even more so, because throughout the day you're moving a hand, which means the watch is constantly being charged every time you move your hand. It takes about 60 rotations for 5 minutes. So, so you should never ever, not our brand, any brand, wind especially a 2, 3, 4, 5 day power reserve up to the full. A 40-hour power reserve, well, yeah, it's a 48 hours is fine.
I got it. I own the 501002 and I love it. The Pilot, big Pilot. I love the watch.
Congratulations. It's a fabulous one. You have a 002, correct? So the classic.
Yeah, that's correct.
Karishma wants to go next.
Hi, Dennis. I actually had a question about the monopusher chronograph that you've introduced in the Portuguese collection. First of all, the hand-wound monopusher itself is a historic complication.
Correct.
Why the comeback? And secondly, have you made any changes to the construction of the monopusher movement since the 2015 Portofino?
Okay. In terms of movement specifications, I honestly haven't studied the movement, but it's the same movement. In terms of changes, we've made material changes. So for example, even with the 7-day power of automatic, we've started using anti-slip ceramic quite a lot. So IWC has been associated with ceramics in our watches for quite a long time. So we like to use ceramics for its non-fading properties and its strength properties. So apart from material innovation, apart from minor technical innovation, the construction of the watch is pretty much exactly the same. The monopusher has been a monopusher chronograph is a technical achievement. Not too many brands have the ability to actually design a monopusher chronograph successfully for a commercial product. So it is a technical showcase of our ability. It is also a historic movement that is part of our collection. But I'll be honest, it is a very, very niche product, not even a niche product. It's an extremely niche product, which caters to a very specific audience. But it is a technical and a historic showcase of who we are. And a lot of people complain that, the crown juts out too much and they don't like it.
Okay.
Just feedback. Sorry. Was I able to answer your question?
Yeah, I guess so. Since there are no changes to the movement, I guess.
There's no, there have been improvements, but conceptually, it's the same movement.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Who's going next? Vikram Rathi.
Yeah, hi, Puneet. Hi, Dennis. Thank you so much for the informative session.
Please, my pleasure.
When I was just, contemplating between the Spitfire and the Mark 18, right? During my window shopping sessions, and reading online, I realized the Spitfire had an announced movement, and it's a new movement. Are there plans to get the Mark series also an in-house movement, or do you think it will continue to run on a?
So IWC is moving towards ensuring that its entire collection is one day manufactured under its own roof. I'll leave it at that. But yes, soon enough. I would encourage you to wait for next year's SI. It is one of the most exciting launches that we've had in the past, in the 5 years that I've been with IWC. In the 15 years that I've been associated with IWC, it is one of the most exciting launches. It is something special, especially to this group. You guys will love it. It's a pilot's year, but it is a very special pilot's year. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming. But nothing like Sarosh's watch, so don't be sad. So the bronze will retain its exclusivity purely because of manufacturing. It is very, very difficult to manufacture bronze. So because of its inherent characteristics, its availability will always be low. It is not something that we can just go and make. It's very, very difficult to make that watch.
Ankur, you can shoot.
Hi Dennis, it's nice to see you in person.
Uncle. What's up? How are you?
Really nice to see you. Very good, thank you. Dennis, my question is, you said that the Portofino Portuguese, they have a history behind it. So is there a story and a history behind Da Vinci as well? It has the most complicated. Yeah, would love to hear that story.
Da Vinci was was formed to actually host Mr. Kurt Klaus's first perpetual calendar movement. So Da Vinci collection, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of trivia about IWC. You know, there is a lot of focus on male watches at IWC. Inherently, most people think IWC is a very male-focused brand. You would be very surprised to know that till 1960s, 1970s, IWC used to be a very famous manufacturer of women's jewelry watches. We were very, 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 very famous for it. And these were mostly custom, these were mostly very high-end. But yeah, we were very well known for women's jewelry watches. In fact, I think the second automatic movement that IWC ever made was a women's 14-link manual movement. So there always has been a very strong history of feminine watches, of Da Vinci essentially catering to that category of watches. It always existed. And Da Vinci came into the forefront in 1985 when Mr. Kurt Klaus essentially launched the perpetual calendar at Basel. So it was launched in the Da Vinci case. So that case follows through. And of course, you might have seen the ceramic steel and ceramic gold, black ceramic steel, black ceramic gold, white ceramic steel, black ceramic gold, and steel watches in the Da Vinci chronographs and perpetual calendars were very famous between the 1980s and 1995. It was very famous during that time. So the Da Vinci forms in from the base of complications, and also complications added to beauty. That was always that it was the beauty and the brains when it comes together.
Okay. And do you still continue making these jewelry watches?
Yes, we do. We have a collection. It's called Portofino. But
in the sense, using of precious stones, diamonds or rubies.
I am going to show you something actually instead of. Can you see that? So that is the Portofino collection. So yeah, we do. A lot of watches have jewelry watches. So that is diamonds. That is diamonds. That's actually a Milanese bracelet, which doesn't really do that well in India. But it is a characteristic design sort of icon of IWC, the Milanese bracelet. Because even though it's not very popular, it is actually the most comfortable metal bracelet that any brand can make. Is a Milanese bracelet. There is no bracelet that is more comfortable than a Milanese bracelet. So yeah, we do watches with diamonds. We do a lot of jewelry watches as well.
Okay.
Also the Da Vinci collection, which has which has women's watches as well, including jewelry. So we do actually.
All right. Thank you, Raul.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon. I'm coming back to Nepal. I'll come see you soon.
Absolutely. It will be a pleasure to meet you here.
I think Sagar and then Abhishek can go.
Sure.
Yeah, Dennis, I had another question, and that was, I love pilot watches, but the only thing that I would not say I don't like it, but I would have appreciated more is that the lume is only on the quarters on the big pilot, rather than what I have always understood as a watch enthusiast is that usually all the pilot watches have the hands and the numerals that are like fully lume. So just wanted to understand, because the previous Les Petits Princes had the numerals as well as the hands that were like fully lume. But with
which year would that be?
I'm just trying to remember, and I was even trying to Google it out, but
okay, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Sure. So when it comes to lume, why are pilots' watches designed? I'm sorry, I'm going back a little bit into like history, but the fact is that when pilots' watches were designed, at that point they were essentially to not replace but to supplement cockpit instruments, and there was no GPS, there weren't any digital marking instruments. Today, pilots represents the lifestyle aspect of that era. Now, if you have lume on your entire if you have lume on your numbers, in your numerals, if you have lume on your 12 o'clock, if you have lume on your hours, if you're actually a pilot and if you actually look at your dial at pitch black darkness and the lume on your watch is glaring in your face, you will be left with a temporary image retention in your eyes if the whole dial is lit up. It's like, try it out. Light up your lume like to its full power and then go into a dark room and just look at it immediately and basically have a glance at it and put it back. You will be, the whole image will be retained in your retina because your eyes have adjusted to pure darkness. And if a light source is that bright, it will cause it's called temporary image retention in your eyes. So it is not actually advisable to have a full dial which is lume. For example, even if you're looking at special forces watches, which we don't make, but a couple of other brands make, they always come with bands on them. So you can peek at it. You don't take a full glance at a fully lume dial, you will not be able to fly. Or it will hinder your ability to fly. And secondly, it follows the design of the original Ber Pakhtoon that we have. So the design ethos is an evolution of the original Ber Pakhtoon. So, and yes, while the design codes do change, do evolve and do fluctuate every 5-10 years, but that has been the design structure of IWC pilots watches.
Right. The one I was talking about was 500908. I think that had.
So the 5009 series was the predecessor to this particular series.
That's correct.
Yeah. So yeah, they might have had. Honestly, I don't really remember because honestly, doesn't come to mind. But that is the actual reason for not having a fully lume dial.
Oh, thank you so much.
Who has a fully lume dial? Adjust your eyesight to like to total darkness, and then glance at your watch when it's on full power. You will see the image in your eyes. Please, sorry.
Thank you.
I think Abhishek is going next.
Yeah, Abhishek. This background makes me look like an alien. Yeah, Abhishek, tell me.
Abhishek, or anyone can take the question. Just go for it. It's an open mic, guys. You don't need to put it on the chat.
Hey, hi. So I had a question. Yeah, there's an IWC Top Gun series, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does that have anything to do with the Paramount movie, or is that to do with the actual, American fighter training school?
Both.
Both. Okay.
So, but just give me 1 second. I'm going to pull something up for you guys. So IWC Top Gun is actually offered to all Top Gun instructors. It is the official instructor watch for the Top Gun Academy in San Diego. And it is associated with the movie. In fact, there is a watch that was launched specifically for the movie, but well, because of COVID, you know what happened. The SFTI.
So there is like a special Top Gun.
There's a very, very, very special watch. And there are some very, very special watches which have actually been launched. Or where did this go? Yeah, there you go.
Are you showing us something for the movie?
Yep. No. I'm just showing you.
Oh,
so do you see that? That's the SFTI. So that's actually the official watch for the movie. This is, and the Top Gun collection always, every single watch. Sorry, it's just loading. Can you see that?
Yep.
States Navy Fighter Weapons School. So it is officially licensed. Every single Top Gun is officially licensed. That is the reason why they made out of ceramic. Because pilots actually wear these watches.
I see. Okay.
And that was the SFTI. Sorry, it's loading. So SFTI was actually designed. As you can see, it's got the fighter pilot at the back of its second hand. Was designed and launched for the movie, but the movie is now being pushed to December. Launch the watch. And you can see a material innovation. So that's the Blue Angels. Do you know of the Blue Angels?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
So that's the Blue Angels Club. That's the Blue Angels watch. So we do special editions with, a lot of like the jumping jacks. We work with, I think, 5 specialty schools, 5 or 6 specialty schools, and the instructors wear our watches. Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay. So how does the licensing deal work? Like, do you all pay Paramount or do you all pay the US Air Force?
I would be the wrong person to answer.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that though.
Please, my pleasure.
So I have a question now. This is Swapnil here. Hi, Dennis.
Please.
When are we looking at a dedicated IWC boutique in Mumbai or in India?
Next year.
Very soon?
Next year.
Oh, really?
It was COVID. It would have been this year, but unfortunately, because of COVID, it's next year. You have no idea how excited I am and how much I'm looking forward to actually bringing a boutique. And it's going to be a really nice boutique. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I can't wait to start working on it. But yes.
Mumbai? Delhi? Where is it? Mumbai?
Delhi, unfortunately, we've not got a location yet. See, we're an international brand, irrespective of category or watch brand. When it comes to India, retail is very difficult because we don't have a Fifth Avenue, we don't have a Champs-Elysees. So we have to be restricted to malls and we have to be restricted to luxury malls. There are only 3 in India. So that's the reason why we've not been able to expand into India yet, because to have a boutique is a very, very big thing for a brand in India, you know. So, but yeah, we're very excited. Reliance next year. Looking forward.
So Geo Mall.
Yes. They don't call it Geo. They call it World. Geo World. I'm sorry. I think they call it Geo World now. Geo 2 World. Correct. I'm going to give you guys a bit of trivia. I was just from when you're talking about the power reserve. A lot of people over here are, well, they might be slightly technical. So every single watch that you buy comes with something called a tolerance level, plus minus, you know, it says plus 4 minus 3 seconds a day. Because of our, you know, IWC has a lot of small, unique things which are a direct result of us being Swiss Germanic engineers or being formed by Swiss Germanic engineers. Our watches are actually timed to make sure that their tolerance is actually 0 to 7, 0 plus 7. So you might be early to your meeting, but you'll never be late. Because if your watch is not running the time it's supposed to be running, it will always run positive. So your IWC watches, if your IWC watch is running fast, which means that it's okay, but it's running a little fast, it's fine. IWC watches never run slow because they are designed and they are actually primed to run 0 to 7. That's our tolerance, plus 0 to plus 7. There is no minus in it.
That's interesting.
Any Rolex owner would say that would be plus 3 minus 3 seconds a day.
Most brands are like plus and minus, right?
Correct. So we don't do that. We do so you can you'll always be early for your meetings and early for your appointments. You have to be early. You can't be late.
Or your Zoom calls.
Yeah. I have one more question.
Please.
So this is mostly this is industry related. So you know the warranty that have been offered by the brands have grown over the years.
8 years.
From 2 years it became 5 years. Now with IWC it's 8 years.
Correct.
And now Otis also launched 10 years. Yeah, so where do you see this warranty going? Will it again have a standard international practice of, you know, settling this much number of years, or will it keep on continuing adding value to the customers?
I don't think there is any particular way to actually answer that question because, you know, 10 years, when I joined the industry, or even as Sarosh, anybody who's been in the industry 10 years ago, if they said, you know, Swiss watches are going to give a guarantee of 8 years, nobody would have believed you. Like nobody would like 8 years? No way, that's not possible. So technology is moving at such a rapid pace and we are able to make leapfrog, you know, so much in the last 5 years. We've learned so much in technology and in design in the last 5 years that we are confident that we are able to offer an 8-year warranty. But, you know, an 8-year warranty is one aspect of the business. So every brand has a service service rate which is acceptable. Most brands lie between 5 to 10%. So you might be able to offer a 5-year warranty or an 8-year warranty, but are you keeping your brand within the 5 to 10% service warranty? Is 5% to 10% of your watches coming back for service? It could ruin a brand if you don't do it right. So I obviously encourage every brand which has the ability, which has the technical know-how and the service capability to offer that. It's great. It's brilliant for the customer because, you know, you don't have to worry about the fact that you watch for the next 8 years. And the thing is, watches are inherently, I mean, you hold on to them. Not to mean that people like to flip nowadays, but people do hold on to watches. You know, watches were always regarded as, people buy watches because of occasion, you know, to reward themselves. This is a special day for me. You know, I've achieved something, I've done something. So they hold on to it because it's not the inherent value of the watch or the inherent brand of the watch. There are so many people that you will know, even in Bombay, who have a 1960s Longines. Why? It's an emotional attachment. It's a date. It's an occasion which you associate yourself with. And yeah, so when people do hold on, it is a benefit to the customer if you're able to offer it. If we have the technical ability to do it, we have the service network to promise that, and we have the know-how to actually manage it. Of course, it's a great thing. Future is very difficult to say what's going to happen. You know, it's very, very difficult to be able to imagine that in 5 years, will all our movements be carbon ceramic composites? We don't know. I mean, when carbon fiber was introduced into the watch business, there was such a huge hue and cry. You know, carbon fiber is going to be this, is going to be that. It's a great material, but it's very difficult to work with. You know, even ceramic, fantastic material, extremely difficult to work with. Ceratanium, the ceramic titanium blend that we do, fantastic material, has the inherent properties of ceramic, scratch proofness, and titanium flexibility, but insanely difficult to work with. So, you know, even though, so we don't know where these technologies are. Ceratanium 2 years ago would have been like a pipe dream. It's impossible to think about ceramic and titanium together. So technology is moving way too fast, especially in materials technology, in ceramics, in coatings, in carbon fiber, not so much. But a lot of work has been done in metallurgy and in carbons, basically in the carbon sphere and the ceramic sphere. So it's very difficult to say where it's going to go, but it's a very, very good way to essentially grow the industry because, you know, 8-year warranty is great. And if you're able to offer that, fantastic. I completely back it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, guys?
Can I go next?
Please.
For sure.
Hi, Dennis. First, thank you for walking us through the entire collection. It was really a refresher.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already answered a lot of my questions on strap customization, in-house movements, and a hint at SIHH 2021. So I've been in the market for a chronograph, and I really like the IWC La Petite prints, the 77714.
Correct.
But the only problem that I always have with it is that it's too thick and it's too big. Like it's 43 and I am a feeble-wristed guy at, 6.3 inches, 15 to 16 centimeters wrist.
Mm.
And the Spitfire, the new Spitfire is, I think,
41.
a step in that direction. It's 41.
Correct, it's a 41.
But the blue dial is where my heart lies. So is SIHH 2021 going to hold something for me?
I can't answer that question. But
I know, but you can tell me if I should wait or not.
You can see my face, right? So yeah.
All right. So I think that would be a
We're a
big
customer. Okay, well, let me give you an example. See, the thing is, even though the Big Pilot is one of our most famous icons, and people said, why would you screw around with an icon? It was 48, 46, and we brought it down to 46. It might be great, but if no one's going to wear your watch, what's the point? So when we have the ability, when we have the technology, and when we can guarantee you the same level of performance and innovation and technology in the watch, we will offer it to you. We were able to do it at a 43 mm size. Now we're able to do it at a 41 mm size. So gradually, yes, we will. We will go there and we will allow more people to be able to wear that watch. Yes, we do want. In fact, I don't wear a 77714 because it's too thick for me. I'm waiting for. Well, I would love to get a bronze, but my company refuses to sell me one. I said no, sell it. It's almost
Well, I love everything that IWC is doing with their pilot watches. I love the watches. And I hate my wrist every time I'm in the store.
No, please don't. Please understand, in 1960s, the average watch size was 36 to 38 mm. 36 to 38. Today, many people wear a 36 to 38. They'll say, no, that's a women's size. So sizing of watches is a matter of perception. For now, the average size of what is considered the guy size is 40-41. Everyone is mostly comfortable with a 40-41. Yes, but do you know that a 40 mm is lug to lug? So if you have longer lugs, or if you have curved lugs, if you have straight lugs, changes the watch completely. Changes the watch completely. I mean, watch, if the lugs, say for example, this has teardrop lugs. So basically it looks, this is a 43.5 mm watch. 43.5. I have a thin wrist. It's slightly thicker than yours, but I have a thin wrist, but I can wear it. So it depends how you wear it. Like I'll give you a real world example. Frank Muller. They make some of the most comfortable watches in the world. The entire case back is curved. So it depends on how you make it. They can make a 45 mm watch that fits on your hand. So it's entirely dependent on who the manufacturer is. That's why a lot of people, that's why, I encourage people to see that don't look at watches on a picture. Until you put it on your wrist, you have no idea what the watch is going to be.
No, I agree. There are a lot of other factors at play while determining wearability.
Correct.
And right now at 43 mm case size and a 15.4 case height, it is rather large for me.
Not 15, it's 14.3, I think.
Is it? I thought it's 15.4.
It's around 14.3. Anyway, irrespective of the fact is that we are moving in that direction, and you should very soon be able to get something that you like.
Great. That's all I wanted to ask, and that's why I joined today.
Please. Well, I hope you do get a watch for yourself, and I hope you do.
Well, I am already sold on IWC. I just haven't found the perfect watch for me. So if the Top Gun or the La Petite Prince comes in that size, I am already a customer.
See, the Top Guns will always be ceramic with titanium backs, and the La Petite Bronze will always be a blue dial with a steel case or a gold case. So that's in terms of differentiation of choice.
So I like both of them, whichever comes in the smaller size.
So hopefully next year we should be able to find something that you like. A lot of other people actually as well.
Great, thank you.
Cool. I have a question. So the Peloton winding system, which is like the famous one. So could you just throw some light on that? What does it do? How
no problem. So Peloton winding system is a double winding system. Like I said, it's a bidirectional winding system. There are currently, I think, 3 different ways of doing bidirectional winding. The Albert Peloton system is the most simplest. It's a push-pull system. So there is I should have a picture of it. Give me a second. So the closest comparative of a Peloton system would be the Seiko Magic Lever. Has anybody heard of the Seiko Magic Lever? Yeah, there you go. Can you see that? Can you see it?
Yep.
So that is a push-pull system. The top is the pull, the bottom is the push. So when it rotates bidirectionally, the heart-shaped cam in the center rocks it on the 2 jewels both sides. So the center is the brass, the wheel that you can see, that is the winding wheel. So this is the simplest implementation of a bidirectional Peloton winding system. There is a Seiko, what's called the Magic Lever system, which comes very close to it, and it's similar to our system. But that's how it works, which allows you to essentially wind your watch in half the time that a normal unidirectional winding watch would do. Which surprisingly, a lot of brands do have a unidirectional winding. There are not too many brands that I know of that actually do bidirectional winding because it adds complexity to a watch on the main pinion. So people do try not to do that. You can use ceramic ball bearings, you can use steel ball bearings, you can use You can avoid ball bearings. So it's implementations are different, but we hold the patent to the push-pull system. So no other brand in the world can do it.
Cool. That's interesting.
Can I go next?
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you for the session, and I just want to take you back to a point you mentioned about 2-3 questions ago, a little bit about composites. So you can skip if I'm getting into too much of product details, but IWC takes a lot of inspiration from the aviation industry, and aviation has gradually moved to composites a lot.
And F1.
Absolutely, right? So, for example, things like self-healing composites in mainstream watchmaking. How far away are we still from those days? Like you said, these are difficult materials to work with. You've spoken about bronze, titanium, zirconium dioxide a little bit. So specifically on this topic.
No problem. I mean, watch brands are more and more being are open to material innovation, and especially because you reach saturation and technical achievement after a point. I mean, a tourbillon is a tourbillon. You can make a flying tourbillon. You can make you can change the hairspring. You can have a helix hairspring. So there's only so much you can do the technical aspect of that watch. I mean, if a design is a design, you can improve it to a certain perspective. Earlier, for example, we use something called diamond coated technology on our escape wheel. That technology, that ability did not exist 4 years ago. So that allowed us to turn our tourbillons 50% more efficient than before. 50% more efficient. That's a huge jump in 2 years. So are we moving towards materials, more and more materials in watches? Yes. I mean, look at the world around you. F. Pigeon made an aluminum watch. We made an aluminum watch 20 years before them. But yes, even a brand like F. Pigeon thought that aluminum is a material that they can work with. Now, earlier titanium used to be only in one form. Now we have various forms of titanium. So yes, the more and more materials become accessible and usable, brands will use them. But please understand, when a car company showcases, or even a watch company, or any company which showcases a material as a skin or as something that is going to be part of their product, that will go through at least 5 years of testing before hitting the ground, because that represents them, because that is the face of the brand. If something goes wrong with that, I mean, any reputable brand. So they will not screw around, or they will not put a material, like we will never we would not put ceratanium on the market if we were not confident that it will survive the rigors. So like every car, every watch also goes through its testing, its tolerance testing, its drop testing, its scratch testing. So if we are confident, or if brands are confident that they are able to do that and offer it to clients, wherein they can actually wear the watch without worrying about breaking the damn thing. Early ceramic watches were incredibly fragile. Like, they were incredibly fragile. You hit them on a corner of a table, they would shatter. Not shatter, but you would get a crack in it. So yes, we are moving forward towards that. In terms of self-healing, that's very far, because that needs an electrical input. And when you add an electrical input into a mechanical watch, that will screw up your watch. So anything that does not require an electrical input in it to correct it or to change it should be fine. I mean, we've started using forged carbon. So we did a 24-piece limited edition for Hong Kong, where we did a big pilot in forged carbon. It's not compressed carbon, it's forged carbon. So yes, we are looking at it. A lot of brands are looking at it. So why not? I mean, yes, we will be there. And yes, composites will be more and more important, because they offer abilities and allow us to do things which were impossible to do earlier. So it will happen. It will be there.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, so we have time for one last. We are already, like as always, way over time. 60 minutes threshold. But yeah, so one last
very short question.
Please.
This is regarding the bronze watches that you make.
Yes. Sir.
Are you using the same bronze that you used for the Expedition Charles Darwin?
No.
For the Spitfire as well?
No, it's a very different bronze.
Okay.
So the bronze, so the composition of the copper element and the composite, the sacred element which we put in is different. So you cannot polish the Spitfire like you could do the Charles Darwin 38790, because that is a shiny bronze that has the ability to have a shine on it. The bronze that we use for a Spitfire is slightly softer. more resistant to, I mean, it's a better, more evolved alloy. So it also develops a more, it's a less aggressive patina than, say, for example, a bronzo from Panerai. It's a much less aggressive. So the patina will grow very gradually. You will get the patina immediately, but the evolution of that patina is more gradual and slower. Because if the reaction to the is too fast, then sometimes, say for example, this part of the watch or this part of the watch, which is specifically in touch with your skin, will develop much faster and overtake the rest of it. So that's why it's a new formula, it's a new alloy that develops a patina a little slower than usual, than most bronzes.
Okay. Thanks.
Does anybody know why we actually use bronze in the Charles in the first place? Okay.
Come again?
The reason why we actually use bronze is Charles Darwin's ship, which, Jesus, sorry, the name escapes me right now. It's called, yeah, anyway, the name escapes me right now. The portholes on his ship were made of bronze. And the reason they were made of bronze, because bronze is a living material. It's the only material that can actually survive that level of beagle. It's called the beagle. Ah, Mr. Patamarin. Thank you very much. Yes, it's called the beagle. They used to have bronze portholes, and that's the inspiration for the shape of the aqua timer. It's also the inspiration why we use bronze. And the reason why we use bronze is, I don't know if you know, but the aqua timer collection is our most significant collection in terms of what we give back to the world. We work with the Jacuzzi Society. We work with a lot of other societies for preservation of, like the Galapagos Islands. We actually promote and support the preservation of the Galapagos Islands. We've done a lot of work over there. So it represents the living aspect of a metal. It's the only metal that lives and breathes and reacts. So, reacts with its environment around us. So there was a reason why we actually used bronze. It was not just because we wanted to use bronze. It was a direct connection to the Charles Darwin Foundation. It was a direct connection to his ship, and the design was taken from the porthole of a ship. And that's why we use bronze. And because they were polished in the ship, that is why we use the polished version of the bronze. If you remember Spitfires before this collection, before 2020, Spitfires always came with a silver dial. I don't know if anybody remembers that. The reason we use a silver dial always on a Spitfire was because all Spitfires used to have a silver surface on their surface, on the exterior. That is the reason why always Spitfires used to have a silver dial. So whatever we do in terms of design, whatever we do in terms of evolution or in terms of material technology, always harks back to what we want to essentially showcase. So the Spitfire always had, the silver dials. The Le Petit Prince comes from the blue of the Le Petit Prince's, the night sky of the Le Petit Prince. So every, like the Saint-Exupéry collection, that actually comes from the brown of the Saint-Exupéry collection. And every single watch gives back to the ADSE foundation. So we do a lot in terms of trying to work with the world that we live in and give back to the world that we live in. And everything that we do has a reason. There is always something associated with its history, its lineage, or its DNA. Always. There's never, I don't think we've ever done a watch which has never been a reflection of who we are. Mostly, I think.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Please.
Cool. Thank you so much. I think we will have to end the session now in like about 3 minutes. So just the last couple of questions is, so Dennis, which is your favorite collection, personal favorite collection, why, and which is your favorite watch and why?
That question gets asked to me more than you would imagine, because a lot of customers who introduce, or a lot of people who are buying the first IWC is like, what's your favorite IWC? I'll buy that. I say, yeah, why are you asking me what's my favorite? An IWC, a watch, irrespective of brand, especially for men, it is the one thing that touches your skin or is part of you. It is part of who you are for the entire day for at least 8 hours. A lot of people don't comprehend that, but it's on your hand, it's touching your skin, it's part of you. It evolves and it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your habit. It becomes a part of your subconscious. It adds to the individuality that is you. So it's very difficult for me, and especially with me, because I have access to new watches, old watches, current watches. So we go a little mad, but I do have a favorite watch. It has remained a favorite, both because of its technical ability and also because of it's a gorgeous watch. It's the 503401 perpetual calendar, white gold blue dial. It is incredible. It's
white gold blue dial, you said.
50. I'll show you the watch.
The next one is going to be a very tricky question. So,
yeah, won't do that, but okay. Sure, please go ahead. I'll pull up the watch in the meanwhile.
So, apart from IWC, which other? So, you're a watch enthusiast, which
Yes.
I didn't mention earlier, but yes, you yourself are a watch enthusiast. So, apart from IWC, which is your favorite brand, I may say, or which other watches do you have in your collection? What do you
Sure.
think?
So that's the 503401. That's a perpetual calendar double moon face in white gold. I think it's the most gorgeous. In reality, in real life, it looks far better than it does in pictures. It's one of those watches. And yeah, I'm gunning for this watch. It's a bit expensive, so I'm saving up for it. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my current. Actually, that is my favorite IWC watch. When it comes to, I'll give you a little bit of history into what I do. So I started my association with the watch business by bringing Cartier to India and being a marketing consultant and branding consultant for like 4 years. So my first love was, the first watch that I fell in love with as a watch was a Santos Dumont. And the second watch that I fell in love with was a Santos XL. Steel, red gold bezel, inner bezel, brown strap. It was the ultimate expression of sophisticated masculinity to me 15 years ago. It was a fantastic watch. I loved that watch. I thought I'm never going to buy another watch in my life because that's gorgeous. It does everything I want. It's a Cartier. And the next year I took over JLC and I was introduced to the master control chronograph. And I was like, JLC, I mean, they make the best chronographs in the world. It's a Lecoq. It's a great movement, black, it's sleek, it fits my hand. Never gonna buy a watch again. It's perfect. The year after that, I was introduced to Debdeep, DB25. Man, I was like, I have to spend the rest of my life saving up for a DB25. 5 years ago, I met Philippe Dufour. You have any idea how badly I want a simplicity or a duality or any Philippe Dufour watch? Any. Secondhand, not working. I don't care. I just want to look at it and observe his ethos, why he spends so much time, why he makes it. So it's very difficult to like say, but yeah, I tend to lean towards historic, complicated watches. Complicated watches have always been is a thing that drives me, and it drives me mad because there is one argument which I have still not found an answer to. So column wheel watches, horizontally, lateral or horizontal coupling, vertical coupling or horizontal coupling. I've never been able to convince myself which one I like more. So it's very difficult to sort of, if you like watches, irrespective of whether you work for a brand, you work for a consultancy, you work for anybody, or you're someone like Sarosh who has the good fortune of getting his hands on some of the most complicated watches in the world, but it's impossible to define, I should say, don't define yourself to a brand or don't define yourself to a particular, collection. Keep your options open and, always have something in mind and always keep looking for what you believe in, what drives you. Sometimes in the most simplest watches, it really excites me. So it really, really depends on the watch. And I'm never going to stop loving watches. I'm never going to stop. So for a very short while, for about 3 years, I used to exclusively do high-end complications. Philippe Dufour, Debdeep, Manufacture Royale, basically that level. So for those 3 years, I was like, I'm fuck everybody else. I'm not going to look at these watches. I'm only going to look. But sometimes the simplicity of an automatic watch that talks to you more than the most complicated watch in the world. So it entirely depends on the year, the phase, where you are in that particular time in life. What is your desire? What are you celebrating? So if somebody tells me, I only love an X brand and I'm never going to give it time, things will change. That's my personal opinion, not a brand opinion. That's my personal opinion out of experience for watches and being in the watch business.
Sure, makes sense. So I think Vidyut has one last question. We'll just take that and then we'll conclude.
Please.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I'm really sorry. I know we've exceeded the time limit. I'm asking the question now. So anyway, thanks a lot, Raul, for the beautiful...
It's Dennis. Don't call me Raul. Raul's my dad's name.
I'm sorry. Okay, thanks a lot, Dennis. Through the history of one of the most fascinating brands, of course. And Saroj, thank you so much for sharing the invite to me, and thank you BWE for your organizing this event. This is my first watch event, and I'm so excited. Anyway, getting to getting straight to the question. So Dennis, this is in the similar line of what you just talked about right now, about your experience into the watch industry and about your passion with watches. So I have a question on the business end here. So I am a 23-year-old MBA student. So I can't remember a time when I did not like watches. I've always been in love with watches, but unlike the other guests here, I'm a pretty modest collector, guys. The Casio A158 is still the best watch in my collection.
Let me just add one thing. I only own 3 watches. My first watch is the watch that was given to me by my dad when I was 12 years old. My dad's in army, is in the army. So I got a black Pilot's HMT. That's the first watch I own. My second watch was a hand-me-down Titan from him, bought from the army canteen. The third watch is a Tag Heuer given to me by the CEO of Tag. And the fourth watch is my IWC. I don't buy watches. You know why? Purely because I'm in the watch business. I cannot buy a watch. People just like, if I wear something, people are like, why are you wearing that? You can't wear that. Sorry, no.
Such a curse. I'm so sorry to wear that, but I totally understand. And anyway, thank you so much, Dennis. I wanted to ask you this. So I am doing my MBA in international business and marketing, and I've always had a proclivity towards the luxury side of business, and of course watches definitely make sense. It's a really personal passion of mine. So I wanted to ask you, how does one get into the industry? If I want to break into the industry, what are some sources do I need to keep checking and keep updating myself with? How do I educate myself more? Because I still think I'm quite a rookie. I have a long way to go, but I would definitely want to just enter the industry at some point in my career and just enjoy watches. Yeah.
It's for anybody who wants to get into the watch business. There are various aspects to the watch business that you can look at. I mean, there's Ankur here who's in the retail aspect. There's Sarosha who's in the service aspect. I've had the good fortune of doing all 4. So I've done marketing, retail, brand, and merchandising. But I would say there is no best way to get. It depends on what your abilities. I mean, if you're better at operations, you can go in from the operations aspect. If you're good at sales, you maybe look at from the sales aspect. If you're good at marketing, it depends what your desire is. It depends what do you want to contribute to the watch business. I started in the watch business by Cartier asking us that Indian customers don't understand us. They think that we only deliver to the Raj, but we want to reach out to the common consumer, the normal consumer. So that was my task. I loved doing that, but I didn't know that I liked doing it. So what I would recommend is, if you can get your hands on ITs, industrial trainings, that's the best way. Because a lot of people look at the watch industry from the outside and think, oh, wow, you guys travel so much, you work in luxury brands, it must be a great life. You have no idea. We lead miserable lives. Because please understand, a luxury consumer, not talking about present company, but a luxury consumer, when he buys a luxury product, he automatically assumes that he owns the brand. I'm sure between this group, there are people who've done that. It's not just me, or it's every luxury consumer. It's Vuitton, it's Dior, it's Cartier, it's IWC. When you consume luxury, you automatically assume that if I am paying, or if this is what I have given to acquire what I want, I demand 100% service. How demand that people be on my service. It is a very, 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 very tough business. I'm not joking. And secondly, it's also a very, very, very touchy business. People are very, very touchy about, of course they would be. I mean, if a company spent 150 years, that's one thing I have to go back to brand. So IWC is one of the few brands in the world which has been in continuous production and development since 1868. I'm not going to say which brands were formed very recently, but please, I would encourage you to go and find out. Say, for example, one of my sister brands, Lange. Does anybody know when Elang was actually formed? Sarosh, can you answer that? I'm sure you can.
No comment.
So, like I said, see, the thing is, a lot of people think that the watch business is all about luxury and selling. No, it's not.
1905. Langa started in 1905.
1995.
95.
Yeah, but it was not in, like, because it was not in continuous production.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's one of the things which needs to be sort of sieved out from the marketing to the actual function.
Hublot is another. So point is that we've been in continuous production since 1868. So, we have a legacy of so many over 150 years. So obviously anybody who represents that represents a lineage of over 100 years. I mean, how many brands are 100 years old have? So it's a very, very difficult, touchy business to actually work in. So you have to actually work on sensibilities more than anything else. Because whenever you're sitting with anybody across the table, irrespective of the fact if it's a customer, if it's a client, if it's a retailer, you represent IWC. You represent the brand that you work for. And so you have to basically live up to that. So it's not easy. It's very, very difficult. But I would say follow your passions, and I would greatly recommend do industrial trainings, do internships, understand what it actually entails. Because the watch business is a rough business, man. And please understand, we are discretionary goods. Whenever the market tanks or even crouches a little bit, we are the first business that takes a hit. So you got to have a really, really thick skin to be able to take that kind of pressure, So although it looks very flashy and flamboyant from the outside, and it looks a lot of fun and great, yes, I have an internal passion of mechanics and mechanical watches and things which are mechanical. So that's what drives me. So that's what drives me to drive my people crazy. But yeah. But if you have a genuine passion for it, I would highly recommend work in the business, try and get an industrial training. I learned the most sitting on a table selling to customers. I was a brand head and operations head and marketing head, but I learned the most sitting on the table, actually talking to people. Because what I perceive or any brand perceives as the best in the world, or this is what clients want, or this is how it should be done, is always 50%, because what all of you essentially have your desires, you have your needs, you have your particular ambitions, or whatever you call it. So the thing is, it always has to be a two-way street. Meet people, meet consumers, talk to people like Sarosh. You will learn the business from the ground up. It's always good to learn businesses like these from the ground up, work in them, so you understand what is it that you want to do. That's my recommendation.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for.
Sorry, I do have a habit of rambling a bit, so please forgive me. But I prefer to give fuller answers than leave things hanging.
Makes sense. Cool. Thank you so much, Dennis, for sharing that presentation, which was really insightful, and also taking up so many questions. It was really patient of you. And thank you all the guys who are attending this. A few of them had left, but I thank everyone. And obviously, now everyone knows that BWE, Bombay Watch Enthusiasts, is a group of watch enthusiasts hailing out of Bombay and now all over the world. And we have these sessions regularly. We try to keep it once a month, not to overcrowd it, virtually right now with COVID. Hopefully, we are able to do this physically a little later. But yes, it's been interesting to have this session. And thank you very much, everyone. Please follow us on all social media handles. And in case anyone has a specific question for Dennis, you can please drop in a message or something to one of the BWE handles or me. And we can just, I can communicate it with Dennis on email. And then we can take it forward.
So we do live in a COVID world, but I am coming to Bombay in a few weeks or so. And I would love to meet if anybody wants a touch and feel of maybe a few products, or maybe for example, when I'm talking about ceramics and watches. If I'm talking about 8-day power reserves, if I'm talking about love, it's one thing to talk about. If I'm in Bombay next, I'll let Puneet know. If anybody wants to actually come and actually understand physically, touch and feel and how it actually works, so more than welcome. In December, I'll be getting a few special pieces. This is not external news. This is still not confidential, but this is internal news. So we will be getting a few high-end pieces like tourbillons and a few special pieces to India in a carnet. So when that does come, everyone's invited. to come I'll try and do a session with you at the Art of Time store. It'll be coming to Bombay and Art of Time, where maybe we can do maybe a GTG. You can have a touch and feel of like, we will definitely get a flying tourbillon. We cannot promise, but might get a constant force. So a constant force is here. There are, I think, 3 brands in the world, correct me if I'm wrong, that do a constant force. I think GP does one.
GS, I think that's one.
Who else does one?
I think Grand Seco does one.
No, Grand Seco doesn't do a constant force. Only
launch.
Who else does it? Arminstone does resonance. They don't do a.
It's FP Jaune.
Oh yeah, FP Jaune. FP Jaune does it. So yeah, so essentially the very brands of that level. So a constant force tourbillon is actually the most boring looking tourbillon you'll ever see because it's actually a normal tourbillon. But the what goes into actually making it is what is special. So GP takes a very different angle to constant force tourbillons. I mean the blade. But yeah, we might even get a constant force, and that'll be something special. You know, that'll be something nice to talk about. So we will try and get a few of these special pieces. Might be even we'll try and get some next year's pieces as well. So if that happens, when that does happen, I'll let you guys know. You're more than welcome to come and see that.
Cool. Thank you so much, Dennis,
My
for
pleasure.
sharing that. And it'll be an interesting session in December. Hopefully we can do
Please.
it and without this whole COVID situation going on.
Yeah, we certainly hope so.
Without, but maybe we'll have to figure something out. Let's see.
Please, I would encourage you, I'm not pushing this, but go see the new IWC site, discover it a bit. There's a lot more information on the site. I mean, leave the watches, look at the information. You will learn a lot. I learned a lot from the website. There is a lot of information. There's a lot of cool stuff on the website. Have a look at it. And, you know, a lot of your questions might even get answered over there. So
yeah, for sure.
That's all I'm going to say. So,
all right, cool. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we should
thanks
all
everyone for joining. Cheers.
And cheers. Bye-bye. Take care.